Welcome to the Slamming Door Sessions, a reality creation podcast where we slam the door to anything that is not our ideal. With your amazing hosts, Kristen M.F. Clark and authentic Cintia Sena Sarravache. Join us in a radical embodiment of our ideal states. Hi everyone, welcome back to a new episode of the Slamming Door Sessions podcast. So thank you for being here with us. I'm so happy to welcome you back, or just to welcome you today to this podcast. My name is Cintia. My state is authentic Cintia. And I'm here with Kristen M.F. Clark, the amazing Kristen. And
come on in, sit down. Pour a drink.
Grab a cup of tea, grab a beer, whatever you want. And we have such interesting things to talk about today. But before we begin, don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, to subscribe, to like, to comment, to share, and to turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our upcoming episodes. And so let's begin. Kristen, would you like to introduce our subject for today?
Oh, that is just going to be good. I'll tell you, Cynthia and I always go into this with, we're going to talk about this today. And then, of course, it takes a radical left turn and goes even bigger and even better every time. And we already kind of were chatting a little bit before this started. So, I'll tell you, I really kind of feel like today's going to be awesome, which is interesting because this whole morning, I've just been so chill. I've just been like, not my usual self. And I'm like going, well, this will be interesting. And then of course, the minute Cynthia shows up on my Zoom, I'm like, ah! I'm like, oh, there I am. I love it.
I summoned you.
You did. So we were going to talk today. We kind of said we were going to talk about change. But the subject seems to be veering into another direction, which is, and I think it's going to be big. It's going to be wonderful because recently I received a text from somebody, and I responded. And the minute I responded, I revised that I didn't respond. And so in that moment, I get to play with both. What it was like to respond and what it was like to not respond. If they weren't negative or anything, it just was an old space of, oh, here's the scientific information for you so that you'll know how to make the right decisions. And me going, well, I can show you plenty of scientific information that's just the opposite of what, the internet can be a gnarly place to go into. And that's the response, is the argument of who's right, who's wrong. Here's the better information, blah, 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 blah. And that was just an old state. And recently, Cynthia, I'm going to let her tell the story, if she wants to, how she wants to, of not responding, of receiving a text and going, no, that's not my happy space anymore. I don't really want to give that kind of energy, any energy anymore. And in that moment, that's what I revised. I revised that I didn't respond, that I just delete that conversation and then open the space for something more fun to come up. And that's exactly what happened. It was so cool because I revised that I didn't respond. And the next day, I got the most beautiful text from this person that, like, as if it never happened. The previous one never happened. And it was just a kind, loving text full of adoration, and support. And I was just like, oh, this life is so much fun. And then you start looking around going, oh, okay, what else can I not respond to? Where else can I wield my magic of my imagination of how I want this to be? And then knowing it already happened, right? It already happened that way. It already did it. And there's that whole Abdullah thing of the bottom basics of this podcast, which is, slamming the door on anything that isn't your ideal. And yet it's always your ideal. It's like Abdullah said, you already went to Barbados. You already went first class. Quit talking about it. All right. Handing off to you, my dear.
Yeah. So the story Kristen is talking about, first of all, what a wonderful manifestation. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the story Kristen is talking about is, so I received a text from one of my sisters, and I had been animating this version of her back and forth within me, right? And so this version of her that was not the ideal showed up. And then I realized, yeah, that's not what I want, and the most important thing for me, I think, is that was the awareness that it's not her, it's me. I get to choose if I am going to continue giving life to this version of her in my life, in my reality. And I was like, no, you know what? No, I am not. And so she was coming with some, a subject that was not ideal. And I didn't respond. I didn't answer. And, I am always answering on my phone, like on WhatsApp, like when someone texts me, I'm always like looking, reading, answering all the time. So she was, I imagine she was wondering like, what the heck? Because I was reading the messages. I was opening just so that I don't get the notification anymore, but I was not reading. I was not. And she started calling me and I was not picking up the phone, which is very unlike my usual way. And so my other sister sent me a message like, hi, how are you? And it's like she's just checking to see, first of all, I guess, that everything is fine, that I'm okay, and then I answered straight away. And like, yeah, I'm fine, great. And then my other sisters, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, why are you answering her and you're not answering me? And I was like, I answer like, I'm only available for good news. And she was like, why? Just because. And that was, because that's the truth, just because that's what you could say that's my standard. That's my new standard for my life. That's what I accept. And she didn't say anything else, right? And I was talking to a friend about it because I have this friend. She had been living away from her family, like in a different country for a couple of years now, and she had to move back. And she's going on a vacation with them. But she was feeling like, okay, I have had like this spiritual awakening and I have been living with spiritual people and having these interactions that are about subjects that I like and that are interesting and that are uplifting and all of that. And now she has to spend 24 hours with her family after many years. She was like, what do I do? Right. And I don't know why I told her about this story. And she was like, and it wasn't not only this story with my sister, but it's the same that Abdullah's story, Abdullah's story of slamming the door,
Yeah.
I was slamming the door in Neville's face. And this, my friend was intrigued because she was interested and she wanted to do it. But at the same time, she was like, yeah, but am I not going to hurt their feelings, And from my point of view, first of all, not allowing yourself to sustain in your awareness a less than ideal version of those people is a gift. First of all, like it's a loving gift. But at the same time, and like I think like what we said in the first episode, we all have different ways of slamming the door. So Kristen has her way, I have my way, and we all have a different way of slamming the door. So like I said, like I told my friend, I bet that Neville did not feel like amazing when he had a door slammed in his face. But that is not the only way to do it. You know, like you could actually go to these people and say, you know, I love you. And because I love you, I am not going to have these conversations with you anymore.
Yes.
Because I want to have this version of you that is happy, that is thriving, that is carefree, that is just, you know, all these wonderful things. That is the version of you that I want to sustain within me, because I believe that what I sustain within my awareness, I create. So I want to give you the gift of your ideal, of your happiness, of your peace, of your thriving state, you know, of this version of you is the gift that I want to give you. And because of that, I will not continue having these conversations with you. Like, you want to come and have a different conversation about something wonderful? Let's do that. Of course, it's not that I don't love you anymore. It's not that I hate you. I don't even judge you, because it's not even your fault. You know, there's nothing to judge.
Yeah.
But this is what I want for my life and also for your life. So there is also this loving way. Like, you don't need to be slamming doors on people's faces. You know, you can actually do it in a loving way, or you can. I mean, if you feel like it, you want to do it, go ahead. You know, no judgment again. But yeah, like, you can do whatever you want, however you want. But the end of it, like the point of it, is that you actually just slam the door to yourself, sustaining a version of someone that is not ideal. And you don't even need to explain to this person why you're doing it. You can, if you want. You can do it like more drastically, you can do it more softly, lovingly, like explain it. You can do whatever you want. But, you know, it is the most loving thing that you can do for someone, to sustain within you their ideal.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. That's the story.
Damn, girl. Who needs to say anything more? Oh, I love in the beginning you said, you know, you didn't want to animate that version of your sister anymore within you. I was like, ooh, animate. That was a good word. Well, and you know, the Queen of Ease and I were having this discussion last Sunday, and we were talking about how, you know, if you embrace the belief in God, isn't God unconditionally loving? So no matter how you present yourself or what snit you're in or whatever, God only sees you when you're ideal, right? God only sees you with loving, adoration and admiration, and God, you know, only adores you. And so this, for me, this is exactly what you're doing. You know, you're not doing anybody any favors by being worried you might hurt their feelings, by even entertaining that they could be somebody who could have their feelings hurt or anything like that. Because again, like before we started this, we were talking about how you are the puppet master in all ways. That's not just a metaphor. It is actually you. When you, like Cynthia was saying, you know, in her mind, she was animating a certain version of her sister. And then she was like, no, wait a minute. Number one, that's not fun for me to interact with. And number two, it's not fun for her. You know, what kind of gift, what kind of love is that? Where I am saying, okay, you got to be a miserable, unhappy person who only sees bad. It's not very loving. So it just cracked me up. Sorry.
No, but it's true. Yeah.
It's so true. And you know, it's so funny because like just now before this started, a friend of mine was blown away that I didn't see that they had, where she lived, they had this enormous fire last year, and it burned over 1 million acres apparently, and she lost like her car and her camper, all these things. And I didn't know this, and she's a very good friend of mine, and she's like, how did you not know this? How did you not know this? I thought everybody knew about this. And I'm just like, because that's just not my world. And that was like last week, the owners of this house came up, and I guess in Texas, there's some big shooting or whatever. And he's like, how do you not know these things? And I'm just like going, because I'm not available for that. I'm not available for, the drama and and bad news. And it's like, I love the version of you that comes up here and is just reveling in how beautiful your property is and how much fun, conversations we have and the constant smiling and the joyful. And while slamming the door may sound like, what you're really doing is slamming, like Cynthia said, you're slamming the door on that version of yourself, the version of you that animates people to be anything other than joyful and happy and good news. Who do you think creates a TV station with news and it's just all 90%, 99% bad? Who creates that? You. And you get to uncreate that. You get to shift that on a dime. And, that's another big thing that I've been playing with this week, is just how quickly that there is no lag with your desires and the creation. There is no, when is it going to manifest? That's another slamming the door on, because honestly, in every moment, I want something and there it is, whether it's here or you're making the differentiation between reality or whatever. Honestly, it's here. It's here at all times in reality. You look around you right now, and I guarantee you can pick up a dozen things that you wanted and now you have them. And you wanted this and now you have it. And you wanted it and now you have it. And anyway.
I remember we were having a conversation once, not so long ago, and you told me like, like the idea that manifestation is not instantaneous is preposterous.
It really is. That was like yesterday. I posted something about, money never has to come, because money was never not here. And the whole, and it's funny, I don't even want to go into this. The whole cash thing is just, like I said, it's like a dust particle on the richness of this life is so outrageously rich. And when you're talking about money, it's like a dust particle on Mount Everest. Compare the two, this dust particle, and then over here and all around you have Mount Everest of amazing and richness and wonder. And it's like, and so, I mean, I really love this. I love that you really stirred this up in me, and I created you doing that. Is this, don't respond. Do not respond. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You want to say something?
Yeah. And, not respond is basically do not interact with that version that you were animating. But then also in your imagination, you can start animating a new one. It's like start having fun with the ideal version of that person, because that's basically the gift. Okay, I am sustaining your ideal version within my awareness, and then that's the gift. And actually it was yesterday. So speaking of sustaining versions of beings, because it's not only of people. So I was with a little girl yesterday afternoon, and all of a sudden she started feeling really bad. Like she crying and screaming because she had a very strong ear pain out of nowhere. Right. And so I was trying to console her and to make her feel better, but I didn't know what to do basically. So what could I do? I was like, okay, what would I be doing if she was feeling great? What would I be doing if everything was fine? And I would be like, we're just chilling, checking my phone, and so it was interesting, this moment when I had her, like I was trying to console her and everything. So I had her screaming and crying in my arms, while in my mind I was chilling on the couch on my phone, and I was trying to feel that calmness, that everything is great and she's doing great and everything's fine, and so having a child screaming and crying because she's feeling like really a lot of pain, while within my internal world, in my imagination, I was like the opposite. That was an interesting exercise, right? And so within 5 minutes, she was like, nice, reading a book, completely fine. And of course, I went to the couch and I was on my phone, like exactly how I had imagined. So, this gift of sustaining a different version of someone is a way to help them, like a gift. I come to the same idea over and over, like the version that you sustain, if you choose to sustain the ideal version of someone, is a gift for them. Yeah. And so that was something that happened. And then,
well, and I love that you brought that back to you. What would I be doing if she was fine? I love that, but go on.
Yeah. And because it's always about us. That's the thing, like it doesn't matter what's going around, what's going on around us, because if we know that it is only a reflection of us, then the moment we change, everything has to change. So it's not only because I think we talk a lot about if someone is doing something bad to us, like if someone is cheating, if someone is insulting, if someone is treating us in a bad way, we talk a lot about, oh, I need to change. Like I need to change the focus and look at myself, because that is a reflection of me. Sure. But in any other situation, like if someone is in pain in front of you, well, it's the same. Like the focus is never out. It's like, whoop, I need to change the focus and see, who am I now that everything is fine? Who am I? What am I doing? How am I feeling? Because that's the only thing that I can change. Like that we can change is ourselves.
Yeah.
So that was
a great example of the little girl. Oh my God, that was a great example.
And I also said of beings, because I did the same with my cat yesterday. So yesterday, no, it wasn't Sunday. Yeah, it was on Sunday. So 3 days ago, we're on Wednesday now. So I had this situation, right? So I had my cat operated, and the vet told me something that I took as fact, which, it's never a fact. Everything it's an option. And so I took something as fact, which was after the operation, cats eat more, right? And I was like, yeah, okay. And then she started being hungry, like a lot more hungry, like desperate for food, like all day long. And I was like, holy smokes, why did I accept that as true? It's not. And so I was like, it doesn't happen with my other cat. And I was talking with a friend who has 4 cats, and she was like, what? It never happened with any of my 4 cats. So I was like, oh, I know it was silly me. I took that as truth. And here my cat desperate for food all day long, and I was like, no, I do not accept this. And so one of the things that she used to do before starting to think only about food was, she's a very loving cat, and she loves to be pet, caressed, to sleep next to me, to always be next to me.
Millie!
Millie. And so one of the things that she does is, when I'm on my bed working on my computer, I have like a little table, and then my legs, I guess I always sit like this because she always does this, like one leg is straight and the other one is like bent like this, and so she comes in the middle to sleep there. And So she stopped doing it, like slowly. She was like always thinking about food, and she stopped doing that. And so I was like, no, I don't accept this. And so I imagined, I think it was Saturday, let's say I woke up, right, in 9 a.m. and I imagined her, I mean, me caressing her, and she was sleeping there. And at 11 a.m., I also like wrote it on my journal. I have a journal that I use to, like scripting or affirmations or whatever I want to write down regarding manifestation. I do it there. So I wrote, yeah, she's sleeping here, like always, I'm caressing her. And like 20 minutes later, there she comes to do that. And it was so funny because she was in front of me. And I had this impression that she was like, what am I going to do? I feel like I have something to do, And then she came and she sat there. she like in the scene. And so I just felt like she was feeling like, yeah, there's something I need to do.
Yeah, like every time you walk into a room and you're like, wait, what did I come in here for?
Yeah. And she was like, oh,
aren't I supposed to be hungry? Wait, no.
Yeah, no, wait. I think I'm supposed to be laying here like usual. Yeah, and she came and she did that, and she stayed for a long while. And so, yeah, it was so funny because I guess, when you manifest things that you can clearly see in living beings, how what you do have an immediate impact on their behavior. And and it's just my inner experience of me feeling great, like caressing her as I usually do, and just enjoying her. And then having that immediate effect. So, and with the little girl as well, it's just been, and it's interesting because, of course, all these examples for this podcast, when in reality we were going to talk about something completely different.
Maybe this is about change.
Yeah, well, it is, because it's just changing our inner version of people. Yeah.
I love this. Oh, and again, I come back to the example of what always bring back to self, always, and being able to go, wait a minute, what would I be doing right now if? And I think for me, that ushers in, I know.
You love it.
I love it. I know. Here's my signal from me going, yeah, just going, like this morning, I was able to send a friend of mine some money that is outrageously higher than I've ever felt. Just sending somebody $500 or $1,000 is no big deal right now. And I love this, and I'm super excited about it. And then I was like going, well, wait a minute. Since I get to be a self-made multimillionaire verging on the level of billionaire, how would I respond if I was sending somebody $500? It would be no big deal. It'd be like, you sure you don't need 5,000? I wouldn't be so excited about it. And it's interesting because there's a part of you that's like going, well, wait a minute. It's okay to feel the excitement. It is okay to feel the irritation, the drawing away, the wanting to slay. It's okay to feel all those things. But in every moment, I get to go, well, wait a minute. I've never gotten to feel, oh, whatever. You sure you don't want 5,000? You need 5 million? How much you need? I've never gotten to feel that. And so in this moment, I can go, yeah, I always feel that way. I've always gotten to feel that. Or I can sit here and go, I've never gotten to feel that way. So let's try that on for size and see how my world responds. You always get to revise and revise and revise all over the place. And it's just like when you're in a room, go to the store to try on clothes, and you're like, no, not that one. Let me try on this shirt. Oh, that one looks good. It's just this constant play with yourself. And I love that. I love coming back to, well, how would I respond if? Well, how would I respond if? Well, how would I respond if? And just trying it on and playing with it. And I really, really, because it is easy to look outside yourself and say, oh, well, what if I would hurt their feelings? Well, how let's bring it back to you. Let's bring it back to you. What would you be doing right now if you couldn't hurt their feelings? If it's not possible to hurt their feelings, what would you be doing right now? Who would you be? How would you be thinking a little bit differently? Tell me about that version of you, and let me celebrate that version of you. And I love it. I love it because you can go back in your memories, the memories that are arising right now, which are no different than any thought. But anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. You get to interact with these memories and go, ooh, I get to play with that differently. And it's just so fun. It's just so flippin' fun. Like I'm always saying, the richness of life. And this is like, here's your treasure chest right here. Here's that treasure chest you've been looking for. Here it is. It's you. And all the different ways you get to play with you. Ooh, who would I be if? How would I be responding if? And you just get to keep rewriting the story and then seeing the world around you literally melt and rebuild. And you just get to sit there and go, holy cow. And the thing is I know somebody might be listening to this and going, well, I don't see that, but you do. And in this moment, I would invite you to go, well, how would I be responding if I saw that? What would it be like? What would I be doing right now if I knew I had that kind of power? If I knew that was the world I lived in, what would I be doing right now? And then just because we are there's, and you were saying a minute ago about how, I can't even remember what you were saying, but I was thinking about standing in front of a funhouse mirror. You go to like the carnival and you're standing in front of a funhouse mirror that makes you look all weird, not appealing or whatever. You don't make it such a big deal. You laugh at it. You laugh and you're like with your friends, oh my God, you guys got to see this. And then you just move to the next one. And it's just like, just letting your world be like that, and just going, oh my God, look at that. Yeah, no, I'm going the next one. And you just don't make it any more serious than that.
Yeah. And I think, when you always change the focus back to you, it also is so liberating, because then there's no one to fight with, there's no one to blame, there's no one to be mad at, there's also no judgment. When people show up in less than ideal versions of themselves, there's no judgment. It's just, that's another costume that we put on, but that can be easily changed, and we get to choose something else at every moment. So it's it's like so peaceful, because instead of just reacting, it's like, oh, wait a minute, let me animate a new version. Who would I be? How would I be feeling if this person was like this, if this situation was like this? And just start enjoying that version of you and that version of them. But always bringing the focus back to you, back to us, is so peaceful and liberating. It's like, I read a quote today or yesterday that was something about, when you realize that the world's just a mirror, then you are free from it. Because how could you be slave of something that's not even real?
Oh, see, of course. You know what that makes me think of? When I'm focusing on okay, so let's say I have somebody who responded to me negatively. When I take that state, because you're never mad at them, you're just mad at the state they're embodying. When I try to take that state and shift it, I can't do it. It just doesn't work for me. It's like you're pushing against a wall, and it just that state continues to arise. The state of it just continues to arise. But when I bring it back to me, then there's all these different states for me to put them in. There's all these different, whenever I bring it back to me, when I'm just like, well, what would I be doing right now if that never happened? Or if that person never said that? Or if that person just didn't exist in my reality? Whenever I bring it back to me, now it just opens all these options. There's so many options. And the biggest thing is it's as easy as going down a slide. It's like, woohoo, and it's just, whew. Whereas before, when I'm trying to change them, I can't, you're just not going anywhere. It's just that, and I love, bring it back to you, what would I be doing if, what would I be doing if, what would I be doing if? And that was like when I went into the business, that fun series that we did on the business, I went into it with, would I be doing this if I, since I'm a billionaire almost, would I be doing this? And it was like, yeah, I would, just to give myself, a fun interaction. But from that state, that was as far as I didn't need to do a whole week, right? I only just needed to do hi, it's so good to see everybody. And then that was it. That was all I needed to do. And that was a surprise. But that was what arose from that state, the state of, I'm fine. Life is fun. Life is easy. Life is simple. And the far reaching effects that I couldn't have seen, which is where I'm at right now, where I'm just like, there's so much more fun things to talk about than money. It's a blast. It's so much fun. So again, it's that whole letting go. There is this just absolute letting go, and as we always come back to, ease, just this absolute ease when you bring it back to you. What would I be doing if? What would I be doing if? And there's just no effort. You're just literally opening a door and seeing what's in there, and then letting that lead the way. I mean, it's when you walk into a new house, you open the door and you get to look around and go, oh, wow. Instead of sitting there opening the door and going, okay, I got to manifest this and I got to create this and I've got to push, you don't do that. You just open the door and let it delight you, or a new store or whatever, a new car, you have no idea what's going to be in there, what new buttons you get to press in your new car, what it's going to smell like, and what it's going to feel like to drive. You have no idea. And you get to delight yourself. And that's exactly what happens every time when you bring it back to you, it's a new door you get to open and go, ooh, what would I be doing if? And it's like, wow. I mean, you want to see instant manifestations, guys. You want to play with instant manifestations, which you already do. Just who would I be if? And then let that door open and delight the shit out of you.
And what you're saying, that it's so much easier to imagine who you would be in a different situation. I think it's also because if we're trying to manifest someone to be different and we believe that we need to change them, there is this feeling of force, like you're trying to bend someone into something that they're not, and also I think I guess just because they are living beings, that somehow, I guess it would have to be, something related to free will. And there we go into another black hole. But you know, this feeling that, oh, because it's a person, or oh, because it's an animal, that they have free will, and that somehow if I try to change them, I'm doing something bad, or that because it's living being, it's somehow harder to manifest a change in them than with something that, like, with an inanimate object. And you know, all these considerations, changing things outside, when you change the focus and say, wait a minute, all I need to do is, what would I be doing if everything was fine? If I was treated like a queen, if my cat was sleeping in my lap, you know, that's all you need to do. And that feels so much lighter, so much effortless, you know, so much.
And so much more doable. Yeah. You know, like you said, that the others, when you're focusing outside of you, black holes everywhere. You get sucked down and you completely forget you. And it's just like, no. And, you know, there's a speaker, Bentino Massario, not my favorite, but he does. I love that he talks about, everything is pretty much a state, you know, when he says, you know, you're in the space of my money is coming. He's like, you're never going to get to the place of my money is here from the space of my money is coming. They're two totally different states, two totally different outfits you're going to wear. And so if you're playing with the space of my money is coming, my money is coming, my money is coming, you just, law of attraction, assumption, whatever you want to label it, the money is always coming. The money is never here. It's just always coming. It's just always coming. Law of attraction brings you more evidence that the money is coming. The money's not here. The money is coming. And, you know, so that's a fun space to go down to and play as well. But again, just bringing it back to yourself and, you know, who would I be? What would I be doing right now if, you know? And it's I swear it's just this complete removing of veils and confusion and, you know, anything difficult and pushing against any and everything. It really is. It's just this absolute shortcut to simple, easy, and fun. Absolute shortcut. I love that.
Yeah. So anything else that you want to share, that you want to talk about?
Speaking of Millie, where the heck is she?
Oh, she's taking a nap.
That space you talk about when you're laying with one leg straight and one leg crooked, and they always have to go into that space. I call that the cat bed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Because every cat goes straight to that space, that little space that you've opened. That's the cat bed.
Oh, it's the first time it happens to me. I've had many cats, but it's the first one that comes to sleep there. Oh, so that's what made me realize, like, wait a minute, I'm sitting like this all the time, because then I started seeing her like coming there every time. So I was like, oh, I didn't know that I was sitting like this.
That's the cat bed. I love it. Oh, this was so good. This is such a good, fun space to play in. And I love it because it really is the ultimate slamming of the door. You know, the whole word slamming. It's the ultimate shutting of the door, you know, shutting the door on the struggle and the pushing against and all of that. And just playing house, you know, like when you were a little kid, just playing in that imagination. And when we're like, oh, who would I be if? What would I be doing if? You know, it just, I said a minute ago, it's a shortcut, but it so is. It so is. And it's funny how I just don't have any tolerance at all anymore for any memes that pop up, all these people, you know, quoting Abraham and all this stuff. I just have no tolerance for anything that isn't just an absolute embracing of you, you know. And in fact, even today, I think I posted on my Instagram something about embracing your flow. what is your flow? What is you? Tell me about the you we can celebrate, and it's such an open space for celebration, instead of picking apart and we got to fix. It's just celebration. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it's not just people, we've been talking about people today, but it's everything. It's everything, because everything comes back to you. You are the creator. You are the one that animated that. You want to change it? Go for it. You can at any time. You so can. And it's so liberating. Yes.
Yeah. And it's such a different feeling coming at it from this space of ease and flow and just being easy. Because I actually was reading a quote from Krishnamurti that said, effort implies that there's resistance. And when you only have to change yourself, how could there be any resistance from anything around you, Yeah. Like there's nothing can resist you, because if you change, then everything changes automatically, So there's no effort required.
Yeah. I love that. Nothing can resist you. Oh, that was beautiful. Beautifully said. I love that earlier you said something about my ears are not available for that. And I was just like, oh, that was perfect. It's like my ears aren't available for it, and so that even, instead of just saying I'm not available, my ears aren't available, it brings in the ears to help you out, or my nose is not available for those kind of smells, it just brings in all these parts to go, oh yeah, let me help. Let me play here too. And oh, how beautiful is that? Yeah, or my bank account isn't available for that, oh, that here we are, whole new world gets to open up for you, and less for you to worry about that you got to police. My mind is not available for that. My eyes are not. So in fact, bringing up the eyes, I was playing with that. I've always had perfect vision. And I was up on this ridge, and for me in the past, I the leaves on a tree, the whole tree just looks green. I'm not seeing each individual leaf. But I played at a time where I had glasses. No, not interested in that. I like being glasses free. And I was up on this ridge, and I realized that everything was crystal clear, like all the houses that were way down there, and all the trees and all the roads, everything, and every little car that was on the roads way down there. It was just so crystal clear. And I was just like, oh, this is wonderful. This is fun. And so I love being able to say, my eyes aren't available. If I'm seeing something blurry or whatever, being able to say, no, my eyes aren't available for that. And then just handing it over to the eyes, take over. Okay, you guys are in charge now. And how, that opens up a whole world of play.
I like it. I like it.
How fun is that? Oh my gosh. Now you don't have to worry about slamming each door and policing everything. No. I got a whole team. They're on it.
Yeah.
my whole team, my whole world, they're only available for this and this and this. Oh, just so much fun. Yeah. My memory.
Sometimes, sometimes I think about like my cells, like my cells are, doing it. I don't need to think about it. They know their stuff.
Yeah. My stomach's not available for somebody has a constant tummy issues or whatever. No, my stomach's not available for that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And it really empowered. Again, here we are, I'm not doing you any favors by seeing you as less than perfect. So yeah, it can be people, or it can be, your knee that you had a surgery on, it can be whatever. You are the animator. You are the creator. You get to see everything as wonderful, because that's my gift to myself and you. And it's just like, wow, what more? And the coolest thing is you start going, where else can I play? You know, like you with the new house and stuff, you know?
Yay.
I love
this
it.
was so much fun.
I know. Bless you and your fly.
Yeah, it's like she's coming. She's the new mascot. They all want to be here.
I know. They want to hang out in the cat bed.
Yeah. They want to be part of the podcast.
I know. So I would love to invite anybody who, you know, if you're on Spotify and stuff, there's a place where you can comment and let us know what was your biggest takeaway from this. It's so much fun to play here. And in, of course, YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, you get to play here. You get to comment below and weave your own magic. So, you know, let us know what, you know, if you bring it back to you, how do you feel about that? What world opened up for you through what you created here? You created us talking. You created us bringing up this conversation. Yeah, well done, by the way.
Yeah. And I want to know, like, how have you changed circumstances or people or animals or anything, you know, like how have you changed the reflection by changing yourself? Yeah, definitely want to hear those stories.
Yes, fun success stories. Woo! All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next week. This was episode 9, and next week will be episode 10. Woohoo!
Yeah, looking forward.
And if you have a subject you'd like us to talk about, let us know. We'd love to. And if you want to come on and chat with us, let us know. All that information's in the comment sections and down below in the description section.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.